Professor Kim, and panelist and guest. I better say good noon, if I may introduce a new term into the daily usage. You know, we do say noon, isn't it? Sometime I say 12 noon, so it is 12 noon rather than to say good afternoon or good morning. So good noon. I am teaching a course, PhD course now in University of Sharjah at the Department of History and Islamic Civilization, called Historical Text and Terminologies. نصوص التاريخية والاصطلاحات. Those who understand Arabic here. I have a student from Korea, from your university, Won Ho, and I encouraged him to do his PhD in the same university. He completed his MA a few months ago, and I asked him to do his PhD. And I said to him, I will be your supervisor, you know. And I changed his mind because he liked this kind of figures, you know, a kind of like comparative economic analysis. I said, forget about it. Come to theoretical things. Come to the conceptual comparative studies. It's much better. You get better job in the future. With these figures, you don't get better job, you know. Sometimes to speak at the end is boring. Sometimes is useful. In this case, I felt very much useful to be last speaker. Why? Because a lot of ingredients were put up by Professor Kuroki and Professor Suwan. Professor Dengi spoke about Turkey, but there are, I expected further notes on that. But anyway, let's say Professor Kuroki used the term jihadist, terrorism, terrorist, Daesh. You used, you know, ISIS, Arab Spring, image perception, news coverage, sensational things. This all for content analysis in media. If I may add, for Turkey, for instance, there is a term called FETÖ. I always questioned this. I lived in various countries, you know. Between Professor Cengiz, I was twice lecturer in Turkey, so I might be in those figures that you mentioned there, you know. Once from 2010 to 2012 in Gaziantep, and the second one was from 2017 until 2018 in Sakarya University. One is private university, one is the public university, so that experiences, you know. Malaysia, of course, I spent some time in Malaysia, almost 16 years. Last 1 year I am in United Arab Emirates. This terminologies, you know, that we use daily is a kind of like factory producing this kind of terms. And these kind of terms are consumed by media, consumed by academics, so-called, inverted comma. I'm using inverted comma because I have a meaning behind it. And how this kind of things, this factory of production of this kind of terminologies appear, normally is a combination of politicians, political analysts, and major dominant makers of media. Arab Spring, who started using it? Did we start as academics in the universities, professors? No. ISIS, did we start using it? No. Daesh, did we start using it? No. Who? Politicians start this. Terminologies like jihad, jihadist, they start using it. So we are always stuck between this. How do I put down this one? Do I follow this? Okay.
You can click the mouse.
Okay. In 2000, after 9/11, you know, number of journalists have been approaching, asking questions, and I appeared in Turkish media twice and in Croatian media, Estonian media. They have been asking me, what is happening, all these kind of terminologies, you know. And my answer to them was, I start contemplating, you know, what is the cause for these things? for this terminology that we are using. And I come I came to use, or after contemplation, I came to understand that there is the problem of extremism. In Arabic, it is called tatarruf, extremism. So, okay, let's go with extremism. Extremism is the cause of all these issues that we are talking about. But what is the root of extremism? In this introductory remark, I will go very fast. I don't have many slides. I will not make you bored. I will go very quickly. In this introductory remarks, extremism is a form of human and social phenomena, and not within a form of religion per se. This is my understanding, and it should be studied from the global historical perspectives and not from one belief or geographical perspective. So this is a kind of introductory thing. I developed, since 2001, I have been working on it. As I said, I have been contemplating, and I came up with there are 3 types of extremism. Now, when we say extremism, I'm not referring to Muslims only. I'm not referring to the Middle East. I'm referring to the global thing, Extremism you find everywhere, You find in China, Southeast Asia, India, Africa, the whole world, in general. So global issue. I came up with new needle words, kind of like mystic Sufi extremism. Mystic Sufi extremism, of course, this kind of thing exists in this part of the world too. This form is considered the softest and largest form, but everybody has some kind of mysticism. You go home, you contemplate, you meditate, you do some kind of inner cleansing, kind of like you don't want to see people sometime, you want to be alone. So you are practicing something, But if this thing go out and you are trying to push forward something, it becomes later on dangerous. You have number of, let's say, Osho. You remember Osho, those who are born in 70s, like myself, I am 73. Those who are born in 70s, 60s, they know an Indian guy by the name Osho who lived in America. He was a cultist. He established a cult. A lot of YouTube things you have with him, kind of like, yeah, he found a good market in American thing, and he was coming up with, it tend to go towards the dangerous side of it rather than. There are a number of examples. I don't want to enter to the details of it. We can discuss perhaps during the Q&A session. Then second most important issue in extremism is legal juristic extremism. This is considered the middle and the medium form. It is not applicable to all the level of communities around the globe, and this form tends to be imitated from the others. It states, if states and powers control this form in moderate way, it is fine. Otherwise, it could be very dangerous. The dichotomy of either or not is most likely applicable. In these kind of things, we have, let's say, the issues of south, north, east, west. Like we have in Macedonia. I am from Macedonia. 25 years, Greece did not recognize Macedonia. Why? Because Macedonia exists in northern part of Greece. Okay, in April they came up with a new Republic of Northern Macedonia. Oh, solve the issue. We have been suffering just because of this legality of it. But you have also in our daily beliefs things, that madahib, you have Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, Hanbali. I remember first time I went to Syria in 1987. I was young, 16 years old. I went to Masjid Umayyad in the city center. I saw 4 mihrabs. As you know, some of you, if you have visited mosques, there are a place where Imam leads, I saw 4 mihrabs. I thought it is representing, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Zoroastrianism. No, it was within Islam, the Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi. So that kind of extremism, juristic extremism. And this was the result of 19th century. There are a number of examples of this, in juristic aspects. among Muslims and non-Muslims, you find. The third one, which is the most dangerous one, theological or / ideological extremism. This is the most complicated and sensitive form. Most of the time, superpowers control and benefit from this form. This form does not come from the lower grounds of individuals or communities, but well-engineered minds and societies. This is the most dangerous form of its form. It is generally tends to use the force in order to dominate through doctrines. I gave some names there, leftist, rightist. Turkey has been suffering from this leftist, rightist during the 70s, 80s. And you have socialists, that certain countries experience too. You have fascist approach, Shia, Sunni things, This is a very, very highly dangerous thing. And a lot of superpowers tend to benefit from it. Quickly, I will go to a case study, Syria and Libya. Journalists asked me in 2013 about the Syrian case and Libyan when it's the unrest started in the so-called Arab Spring. Again, media guys came up with this word. And then, media and politicians. Still, it is not known what does it mean Arab Spring, I guess it's not spring, it's very much winter, winter that's Siberian winter, happened, all the people, suffered. Look at Syria, 3.5 million people you have only in Turkey, So here is a very important element. Very quickly, Professor Kim, I am watching you, if I have to finish, It is interesting that Syria, I lived in Syria 7 years, and being Yugoslav boy, we had much more open things to visit and see. Turks, they did not have, It was during the Assad father's time, things were closed, a lot of things, and when suddenly, good engagement between Turkey and Syria during the 2005-6, when they start, having tango, two for tango, in between Syria and Turkey, and you could see a lot of, everybody became expert of Syria. Everybody became, and 2011, I was in Gaziantep. I remember, there was a panel. I said to them, this is a long beginning of unrest in Syria. I remember the rector of the university attacked me, said, how can you say, maybe after 6 months we become very good. You will never become very good, trust me. Unless your government goes away, comes a new government, then you become good. Because it's impossible, Geostrategic and the content of Syria, Turkey was not really ready to understand Syria well. In Syria, we have large number of mystical and Sufi groups. Large number. If I sit down like this, I can count to you 60, 70, 80 of them, Different mystical groups. When I say mystical, it could be Zoroastrian, could be Islamic, could be Christian, could be many others, Durzi, Murzi, all this. And in Libya, interestingly, contrast. In Libya, you don't have Sufi or mystical groups. You have only Al-Idrisiya, not my surname, Al-Idrisiya mystical group. And legal or juristic perspective, Syria has dozens of groups within, be it within the religious groups of Islam, Christianity, local indigenous, as well as ethnicities and different backgrounds. And these guys in Syria, they have a long historical destiny. But in let's say in Libyan case, something completely different, what you don't see there, Now, I'm going towards conclusion here. Major consequences here, when these are taken into consideration in any given society and community, the following serious consequences would be expected, and they are reduced into two major issues, either applied separately or taken together. These are mine, there are a number of others, but I am a student of conversion and assimilation. I have 3 articles published on conversion and assimilation. I am a student of Ottoman court records in the Balkans. I wrote my PhD on the 18th century Ottoman court records in Manastir, Some people know Monastir Bitola, where Ataturk received his education and training. I studied these court records. Records are something interesting. Official documents, court documents, where you have social history inside, legal history of religious history inside, and so many other elements, And one thing I focused there in my study that was about conversion and assimilation. When I say conversion, does not mean that you convert from one religion to another, but conversion could be within one religion also. Conversion within one madhab or sect also. A kind of like certain powers come and they divert your thoughts, they divert your minds, Let's say in Iran, before 79, there were some kind of, easily practicing the other fractions of beliefs. But when after 1979, you have this strong power where so-called Iranian version of Shi'i rule was forced to the, in fact, converted to better to use converted. The other thing is, I'm going quickly because the time is really, killing us. I know 1 minute. Yeah, I can see now. There is Arabic saying that "Al-waqtu kasayfi in lam taqta qata'ak." Is killing. Assimilation issue is an interesting thing. I will give a quickly example from Middle East and Yugoslavia. Professor mentioned Yugoslavia. In Yugoslavia, I am a Yugoslav boy. I was born there, and we had 6 republics: Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Montenegro, Serbia, and Macedonia, and 2 autonomous places: Kosovo and Vojvodina. Vojvodina is now part of Serbia, and Kosovo separated. Do you know that in that Yugoslav socialist regime, every ethnic group had their schools and universities? Kosovo, which was autonomous place, they had universities since 1975. Ottomans, when they ruled the area, not everybody accepted Islam or something, or became assimilated with the Ottoman. I have a new term that I invented exactly in 1999. Instead of saying, for the Balkans, instead of saying assimilation, I introduced the term acculturation. What does mean acculturation? Is enriching a culture. Today you have hundreds and thousands of words in Serbian language taken from Ottoman, Persian languages, Arabic languages, yatak, yorga, and all this terminology in Serbian language. But when you compare with the Middle East, let's say Turkey has a Turkish language, It has been always in the last 100 years, the language of the state has been Turkish and everything. Ronald Jennings, very famous historian, wrote a number of articles, and his PhD thesis was about Kayseri and Cyprus. He speaks about assimilation extensively in the Ottoman era, in Anatolia, in these parts of the world. And Kayseri has been very much cosmopolitan place. And there was some kind of certain part, some kind of assimilation. But in the Republican era, you have Turkish language, official language, and you have many ethnicities inside, in Southeast Turkey, some of them don't even speak Turkish, because they are speaking among themselves either Arabic or Antakya, Fellahin. I lived in Antakya for some time, and I saw the Fellahin, they don't speak Turkish, most of them. They Arabic, Ammi, they call each other. The issue Syria. In Syria, you have also a lot of ethnicities, but ethnicities in Syria, they have been practicing daily the languages. You have Cherkess in Syria, 300,000. You have Albanians, Arnauts, Sharil Arnaut in Damascus, 250,000 population. I am Arnaut. You have 150,000 Bosniaks. You have Turkmens and Turks. They divide there, but our people, they mix it, Turkmens, you have almost 350,000, and Kurds, you have more than 1 million, And I have been warning that if something, now Erdogan is speaking about the border security thing, My friend, we have been talking a long time ago, but nobody was listening. His advisors were sleeping, I guess, that PKK on Turkish side, it will give a birth within the Syrian borderline. If you don't be careful, it will come back. So, in other words, there have, but university or state level, the assimilation was not really. Language of Arabic was used widely in universities, in the schools, but it was not touched if you are using your own or singing your own songs. Until, I remember until 2000s in Turkey, you could not sing in Kurdish, for instance, but yeah, so there is always kind of like, we have to be very careful how we are analyzing the region. So we cannot put all the eggs in the one basket. Arab Spring, all of them same. Man, are you nuts? You cannot put Libya into Tunisia in one place. You cannot put Syria. That's why Syria also. There is a last picture. Yesterday a friend of mine sent me something. قطعة السلاح قد تقتل إنسانا أما الأفكار الخاطئة فقد تقتل الشعوب. Says that guns can kill individuals, but thoughts and philosophies or dangerous thoughts and philosophies can kill communities and further. With this, if the above all these three issues are well taken care of, the peace, and the peace will be prevailing. I focused on extremism because once extremism it is understood, automatically the other hand, the thing, peace is understood. And I can talk about peace hours and hours. That is my expertise, another thing on. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.